This is the Ielts speaking test simulation. Hi, welcome.
Hi,
Can I start by asking your name?
my name is Elise Matthews.
Hi, Elise. And whereabouts are you from?
I'm from Melbourne. I live out in the western suburbs, probably about 40 minutes from the city.
Right. And are you working or are you studying at the moment?
I'm working at the moment, so I work in a cafe around my area out there. I work as a barista, and the funny thing about that is that I really hate coffee.
That is very odd.
Yes, it is. It really is. I get a lot of questions about why would you want to be a barista? I don't really want to be a barista, but for the meantime, that's what I'm doing.
Oh, great. All right, now let's start with part one of the simulation. We're going to talk about clothes. Where do you buy most of your clothes from?
I mostly go to a shop called Forever New. I really like their clothes. I like the style, the shape, the size, specifically the sizing of their clothing, because I find that a lot of women's clothing isn't true to the number. So if it's a 10 at one store, that 10 is like a 6 at another, or a 12 at another. Whereas when I go to Forever New, I know I'm going to get clothes that actually fit in the size that I am.
And how often do you buy new clothes for yourself?
Not very often. I probably would say every 2 to 3 months I might buy an item of clothing, but I think maybe once a year I'll actually do a proper shop to renew my wardrobe.
And how do you decide which clothes to buy?
I decide my clothing to buy mostly on comfort. I do like things that are stylish. I like things that kind of sit within my aesthetic style, but I do like clothes to be comfortable. I think it's silly to buy clothes that are restrictive and annoying to wear. So I'd rather buy clothes that are comfortable.
And have the kinds of clothes changed in recent years that you buy?
Yes, I do think so. I think when I was younger, I was happier to wear maybe like shorter shorts and maybe shorter dresses. But as I've gotten older, I think maybe a little bit of length is a bit nicer. So yes, I do think that my choices in clothing has changed over time.
Now we'll move on to part two of the Ielts speaking test simulation. I want you to describe an interesting discussion you had with someone about how you spend your money. You should say who you had the discussion with, why you discussed this topic, and what the result of this discussion was, and explain why this discussion was interesting for you. You'll have 1 to 2 minutes to talk about this topic, and here's a pen and paper if you'd like to make some notes. Okay, time's up. Thank you. Now, please explain to me this topic.
So the other day, I went to a furniture store and I needed to get a new couch. And I took my mum with me. And we were looking around at the couches, and she kept looking at ones that were nice, but not really my style. So I found one, and straight away she said, "That's too expensive." I was wondering, why is that too expensive? And she just said, "You don't need to spend your money on that kind of couch. Just get one of these ones. It's nice and simple. It'll do the job. It's just a couch." But I spend a lot of time at home when I'm, wanting to be relaxed and comfortable at home on the couch. So I would like to spend more money on a couch because I am going to utilize it. And so I just thought it was interesting that she put her priority in something that's just functional, it's fine, and it's just going to do the job. You don't have to spend too much money on it. But I wanted to buy something that was comfortable and maybe put a little bit more money into it because I was going to use it more. So just the difference in where her priorities were for the kind of purchase I was making, where mine were, were different. I thought that was interesting.
What was the end result? Did you get...
In the end, I did get the couch that I wanted. I thought, you know what, I'm going to go with my gut feeling, and I'm going to get the couch and spend just a little bit more money on it so it's nice and comfortable at home for me, seeing as I'm the one that's going to have to use it.
Do you think she was happy with that result?
I think she was a little bit disappointed that I spent a little bit more money probably than she thought I had, but otherwise, it's my couch. I'm going to be the one sitting on it, so I don't really mind if she's a bit disappointed.
Fair enough. And now we'll go on to part 3 of the simulation. We're going to talk about money and young people. Why do you think some people or parents give their children money each week?
I think it's a good idea for parents to give money to their children every week. I think they do it so that if their kids are without them, if they're maybe at school, they have money to go to the canteen, or maybe on the way home if they need to get top up their Mikey. And if they're in a situation where they need to get back to their parent, maybe put some more money on their phone. There's a bunch of different situations where it would be good for parents to give their kids money. And that's probably why they do it. It's for the security, to make sure that they can keep in contact with them if they're apart. Also maybe to teach them to be independent so that they have their own money and they have to start deciding how to use it, where to use it, those kind of things.
And do you agree that schools should teach children how to manage their money?
Absolutely. I wish that my school had taught me more about how to manage money. I think kids need to learn what taxes are, what's a mortgage, how do car repayments work. There's credit cards. That's one of the biggest things I think that we need to teach kids, is that you're borrowing money. It's not your money. You need to then pay it back. And there's companies that ask for more money when you borrow it. So I think it's absolutely one of the most important things that kids need to learn at school, but it doesn't seem to be happening.
Do you think it's a good idea for students to earn money while they're studying?
I think it is. I think going back again to the idea of independence, if teenagers want to go out and do things with their friends, then they should be able to maybe not entirely fund going to do those things. Like I think it's nice if parents kind of help out their kids, but going and getting a part, like a casual job, is a good idea to just form a bit more independence from their parents, so that when they go out into the real world after finishing high school or university, they're well equipped to go out into the world and be independent.
Okay, and talking about money and society, do you think that it's true in today's society that money cannot buy happiness?
That money cannot buy happiness. I think we have to think of the word happiness and what that truly means. I think financial stability can incite some happiness in a person. So to answer your question, yes, in a way, but there are so many other elements to happiness that aren't fulfilled financially.
What disadvantages are there in a society where the gap between the rich and the poor is very large?
The disadvantages. I think there's a lack of compassion and empathy when that distance is so wide. When we've got the 1% who just have all the money and they can just do whatever they want, they detach from the struggles of the people who are in those lower economic demographics. And it's really hard to bridge the gap between so that the people who are in that kind of 1% area are willing to help, and maybe those people in the lower income brackets can open their hands up for that help.
Yeah. And last question, do you think that richer countries have a responsibility to help poorer countries?
A responsibility. That's an interesting question. I think yes, they do. But the word responsibility makes it sound like it's a real task. It should just come second nature to us to help those in need. It shouldn't be something that's so strict. So there's rules and you have to do this. We should just want to.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Elise.
Thank you.
This ends the IELTS speaking test simulation.